Welcome back to that Pirates podcast, everybody. I am, of course, your host who does the most, Ethan Smith. Hope you all are having a phenomenal Tuesday, June 21st. And on today's episode, we're going to recap the fun debuts of Bligh Madris and Oneil Cruz, who both combined for 6 RBIs last night in a 12-1 victory over the Chicago Cubs. We're also going to talk about JT Brubaker's ascension into becoming a better pitcher since the beginning of the year and 6 scoreless innings, picking up his first win of the year last year, as well as taking a look at game 2 of the series against the Chicago Cubs tonight at 7:05 Eastern Time in PNC Park. My name, of course, is Ethan Smith. You can see my Twitter handle right there at MVP_Ethan on the bottom. Make sure you make this podcast your first listen of the day every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. We have the sunglasses on like Brian Hayes, and I am very excited to have them on, as you guys can see. And of course, today's episode is brought to you by the wonderful people over at Rock Auto. More on them later. And with that said, let's get into today's episode.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to that Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, everybody. My name is Ethan Smith of the Locked On Pirates podcast. Hope you all are having a phenomenal Tuesday, as you should be, by the way, after what a phenomenal debut we saw in 2022 for Oneil Cruz and an MLB debut from Bligh Madris as the Pittsburgh Pirates last night defeated the Chicago Cubs 12-1 in an absolute stinker of a game for Chicago and an absolute masterclass game from the Pittsburgh Pirates. And a lot of it, of course, had to do with the man of the hour, Oneil Cruz. Of course, yesterday, Oneil Cruz gets the call up that we've all been patiently waiting for. I think you guys have heard me say his name at least 500 times over the past year or so. And honestly, it was about time that we finally got to see Cruz do his thing at the MLB level. That game last night had everything. You got a field. Pirates win by 11 runs. Oneil Cruz does a phenomenal job. Of course, alongside Bligh Madris, who, including myself, many said would have been a lot more focused upon if it was not for Oneil Cruz's debut. But the duo, of course, combined for 5 hits, 6 RBIs, and of course, some other RBIs in the game. Daniel Vogelbach had 2. Tyler Heineman had 1. Hoy Park had 2. So everybody was getting in on the action last night. Of course, the only starter not to have a hit in the game was Brian Hayes and Michael Chavis. Chavis, of course, drawing 3 walks to recap the game from last night. But me and Gary talked about it on the episode yesterday, and looking into the kind of impact that Oneil Cruz is going to have on this baseball team for the rest of this year and moving forward is just unmatched. I mean, he gives you speed. He gives you power in the lineup. He gives you good contact. He gives you hard plays. And I mean, yesterday, you guys saw me tweet it, and this tweet blew up yesterday. Oneil Cruz, of course, again, is a StatCast legend. Let's just go ahead and say that. He's a StatCast stuffer for the most part, as I mean, you just got to look at it this way, man. Oneil Cruz yesterday pretty much just said, hey, everybody that's been on the Pirates so far, yeah, I'm about to break all of your records. My tweet yesterday, Oneil Cruz already has the hardest hit ball, fastest thrown ball, and fastest sprint speed on the Pirates this season, and that was by the 5th inning of the game. So you get the idea that Oneil Cruz had a phenomenal day, but highlighting Bligh Madris again, I think he's definitely going to add some very good versatility to the lineup, being able to play first base, being able to play the outfield as well. 900 OPS this year at AAA Indianapolis, which you'll take that all the time whenever you can get it. Both of these guys showed already why this team is moving towards the youth movement and why the youth movement is going to propel them for the remainder of the year because of the fact, one, that Bligh Madris was the 12th player to debut this season for the Pittsburgh Pirates, which is absolutely hilarious. And I think it was the most tied for the most heading into June in the modern baseball era. So that puts in mind that we've seen guys like Cal Mitchell, Travis Swaggerty, Kanan Smith and Jigba, Tucapita Marcano, Diego Castillo, um, I mean, Jack Sawinski, the list goes on and on and on with the debuts we've seen this year. And I asked you guys as well for Twitter Tuesday to vote below on your favorite moments from last night's 12-1 win versus Chicago and ask a question to be featured on today's episode. So I asked first, what was your favorite moment? The Bligh Madris 3-hit game, Cruz 3-run double, Brubaker's 6 scoreless innings, or the squirrel on the field. Cruz, of course, overwhelmingly won this. 58% of the votes went to Cruz's 3-run double, his first hit that he had in a phenomenal night for him. And yes, I know he struck out in his last at bat, but whatever. Honestly, whatever. The squirrel on the field, of course, 13%, Madris 23%, and Brubaker 6 scoreless, which got overshadowed a lot, gets 6%. Pirates Drew, of course, comes in with a question. Oneil Cruz is like those demigods in video games. I got goosebumps after that throw. What is your player comp for Madris? I haven't heard as much hype about him. Bligh Madris is very interesting to have a player comp for. Um, it's very interesting to get into that because he can play first base. He can play the outfield. So it's kind of difficult to compare him to anybody. But if we do go to Baseball America, one of my favorite websites on the entire planet, Bligh Madris, I believe, as a ninth overall pick, was considered to be very much like a not Jason Bay kind of player, but he definitely gives off vibes of a guy that's going to be on your team when you're winning, that is going to be the guy that makes the big play when you need it, or makes the big moment that the Pirates would need to propel themselves into the postseason or get to the postseason. As far as a player comp goes, it's really difficult to kind of say right now. Of course, Madris has been in the system for a long time, and it's still very difficult to say. I mean, Key Brian Hayes, a lot of people compared him to Nolan Arenado and Manny Machado, but very different ball players despite their defensive acumen. Comparing players in Major League Baseball is always a lot harder than people think. So sorry to give a cop out answer there. I just don't really know who I would compare him to, especially because not too many left-handed guys that the Pirates have had in recent memory, to my knowledge, that bat like Madris and stuff like that as well. Paul asks, where do you see Peguero playing when he gets called up again? Does he move to second base? Greetings from Germany and go Bucks. Well, nice to know that we have some overseas listeners. Thank you for tuning into the Locked On Pirates podcast. And Paul, we will answer your question here in just a moment, but I need to tell you guys about the wonderful people over at Rock Auto. Rock Auto, of course, has all the parts your car will ever need. And with the ever increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts from their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Make sure you save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to save or spend 30 to 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? For example, a Honda Odyssey fuel pump is $353 from a chain store, but it's $216 from Rock Auto. Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years, and Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer, and they have everything you could need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet. So go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution for your auto parts needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. That is rockauto.com. And before we get into Paul's question again, I want to bring up to you guys that It's almost NBA draft night, and one live NBA draft show is not enough for Locked On. The entire NBA channel is going live on NBA draft night. So if you have a favorite NBA team, make sure you subscribe now to their Locked On YouTube channel so you get notified when they go live on draft night. And, it's really going to be awesome, I think, to see how this all operates with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And you bring up Piguero, Paul, and I'll repeat your question for anybody that may have skipped through the ad. Where do you see Piguero play when he gets called up again? Does he move to second base? Greetings from Germany and go Bucks. It's very difficult to pick that out, but I would assume if Piguero does get called up again this year, he would be probably playing second base. You've seen kind of the revolving door that the Pirates have dealt with over at that position. Hoy Park, Tucapita Marcano, Diego Castillo, Josh Van Meter, Michael Chavis. Been a lot. Oneil Cruz now, though, I think is going to have shortstop pretty locked up. Ke'Bryan Hayes has third base locked up. So I doubt that they move Piguero to the outfield. He doesn't have that kind of experience out there. And let's also keep in mind he was brought up for emergency purposes. So it's very hard to predict when he'll be called back up. It was easier for him to be called up due to geographical purposes with Gwinnett, the Indians playing in Gwinnett at the time, or else we probably would have got Cruz earlier than last night. But, I like it. And then Roansy Contreras, Cy Young, says Madris' debut gave me hope that we might have a first baseman. It's very possible. I would love to see Chavis and Madris kind of platoon at that spot. Madris, of course, being a left-handed hitter, while Michael Chavis is a righty. Kind of just platoon them based on who you're facing. If you're facing a righty, put Madris out there. If you're facing a lefty, put Chavis out there. Vogelbach will probably be the DH 9 times out of 10, but I would like to see Michael Chavis kind of DH there when the Pirates are facing a lefty. And just with the state of how this roster is built right now, it's going to be very difficult when Pirates face a left-handed pitcher, which they will not face a left-handed pitcher in this series until Thursday. But it's very difficult to even build around that right now just because they have so many guys that are left-handed hitters. Cal Mitchell, Jack Sawinski, Brian Reynolds, but he's a switch hitter, so that doesn't really affect him as much. Tucapita Marcano is another guy. Oneil Cruz, Bligh Madris, lots of guys that are left-handed hitters, Hoy Park even. So the Pirates don't really have an answer for figuring that out, but I think Madris definitely has a chance to platoon at first base. I think he'll get a ton of opportunities in the outfield as well. And moving forward with him, it's going to be very fun to see how he continues to perform in his rookie campaign after doing very well in AAA. And I'm very excited that him and Cruz got called up. But again, lost in the mix last night was JT Brubaker, who had a phenomenal game for all retrospect. He had some moments there where it looked like he might give up a run or two. Of course, the Pirates did give up a run, but it was from Heath Hembry in the top of the ninth inning. But Brubaker goes 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 walks, 5 Ks, over 100 pitches. They really needed that after the Zach Thompson IL announcement, which is very unfortunate because Zach Thompson, a lot like JT Brubaker, over his last couple of starts and over the last month or so, has really continued to improve. And that's one thing I'm going to bring up here on the screen. If you're on YouTube, you'll see this that I'm bringing up. JT Brubaker's last 6 starts, his final 2 in May, and his 4 starts here in the month of June. And you look at that and you take a look at everything there. The main thing that stands out is the only time that he didn't go over at least 5 innings or go at least 5 innings was on June 3rd against Arizona. He struggled in that game, giving up 5 earned runs in that contest. But then you look at the other ones: 0 on May 28th, 0 on May 23rd, 0 last night, 2 on June 14th, 3 on June 9th, and he finally picked up his first victory, by the way. As you can see in the month of June, though, a 4.03 ERA over 22 and one-thirds innings pitched. The one thing I'm liking to see, though, is that strikeout number already at 20. You see 29 in the month before that. I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from JT Brubaker. And the Pirates need this kind of thing. The starting pitching staff has been up and down for a while now, but if these guys can start to eventually push against what the league is trying to do, I think the Pirates have some guys here that can really fight to be in the 2023 rotation, because you're going to have guys like Quinn Priester, Carmen Mlodzinski, Mike Burrows, who, shout out to Mike Burrows. Go check out our interview with him from last week. These guys are fighting to be in the rotation next year. That includes Roansy Contreras, Mitch Keller, Zach Thompson, JT Brubaker, Bryce Wilson, even when he was up here, Dylan Peters and Will Crow, possibly. Guys that are getting starts. Jose Quintana, more than likely gone, but we've seen this pitching staff improve week by week. And Gary alluded to it yesterday. The pitching hasn't exactly been the issue for the Pittsburgh Pirates over that 9-game losing streak, and among other things, the other low points of the year, because obviously when you're 27-39, you've had some low points. But looking at Brubaker's stats, man, that ERA just kept going down. If you see at the top, 4.64 was where he was in May 23rd, dropped to a 4.15, a 2.63 ERA in the month of May, which is where that ERA really came down. And he's brought it down from a 4.64 to a 4.11. He's been consistent. He's consistently giving the Pirates 5 innings. He's consistently hitting the strike zone, which he struggled with a little bit yesterday. And I thought that he was injured at one point in that game because he kept looking at his hand during most of his start in the first couple innings. But then I think Tyler Heineman went out there, talked to him a little bit, got him under control, and that's when he really started to hit the gears running. The bullpen, even, by the way, has done a pretty decent job as well. Tyler Beatty gave up a run yesterday, but Heath Hembry came in for the close, up 11 innings, or up 11 runs. But if the bullpen can kind of back up this starting pitching, which again has been very consistent as of late, we look at the scores from the last couple games: 4-3, 7-6, 2-0, 6-4. They've done fine. The Cardinal series was kind of an outlier. The Brave series, they had that one outlier game where they allowed 10 runs, but they're doing pretty good at not allowing more than about 5 or 6 runs every so often, which you'll take that. And against a team like the Cubs, who are struggling offensively right now, struggling period, by the way, at 25-42, it's very interesting to consider that the starting pitching right now, the ERA for the Pirates is a 4.45. That's good. A 1.39 whip, 525 strikeouts, you'll take that, and a 249 opponent's batting average. You'll take those kind of numbers from the starting rotation, I think. And that's where I really think it gets into the mode of who is going to push themselves past the pack. I think Roansy Contreras has done a good job at that already. I think we kind of expected Roansy Contreras to do a good job at that already. But between that kind of middle group of JT Brubaker, Mitch Keller, and Zach Thompson, which one of those guys is going to push forward and make a name for themselves? Keller, for all of the crap that I give him, has definitely looked a lot better with his command on his fastball. He's looked a ton better over his last couple of starts. Zach Thompson was too before he got put to the 15-day IL, which again, very unfortunate for him. And I'm also hearing that Kanan Smith and Jigba is probably going to be out for the remainder of the season, which is again a very unfortunate injury. I think JT Brubaker, if he continues to pitch the way he pitched last night, he's not going to get shutouts every game, obviously, but if he could give you 5 or 6 good innings, game in, game out, every time he pitches, I think the Pirates will be just fine with that. And before we get into our final segment today, where we preview the second game of this 4-game set, I want to let you guys know about the wonderful people over at Built Bar. You know how our friends at Built are always coming out with amazing new flavors? Well, this time Built has truly outdone themselves with their new mud pie flavor. And for the first time ever, Built is introducing the new mud pie flavor in both mud pie bar and mud pie puff. Not sure what mud pie tastes like? Well, if you're a chocolate fan, you better sit down for this. The new Mud Pie Bar is rich whipped cream and chocolate mousse, smothered in 100% real chocolate and topped with cookies and cream crumble. You've got to try Mud Pie as soon as possible. And you need to hurry because the Mud Pie Bar and Mud Pie Puff are only available for a limited time. So make sure you visit built.com to taste the deliciousness for yourself. Not convinced yet? Well, Luckily, we've saved the best for last. It's actually good for you. No, really, all Built products are low calorie, high protein, and low sugar. Mud Pie is packed with 16 grams of protein and only 150 calories and 8 grams of sugar. It's like your mom baked the most deliciously creamy chocolate mud pie, wrapped it up into a bar, and just for you and made it taste great. Mud Pie bars and puffs are available at built.com right now, but they're going fast because they are delicious. Like all Built bars, they are covered in 100% real chocolate. That means they're healthy and tasty. And you are going to love the new Mud Pie Built Bar and Built Puff. Whether you need a snack for your workout, a late night treat, or you just need to grab a quick bite, Built is the perfect protein bar and they taste better than a candy bar. Chocolate mousse, whipped cream, cookies and cream crumble. Stop drooling and get to built.com right now to order your box of Mud Pie bars and puffs now. You won't regret it. So go to built.com, use the promo code LOCK15, let them know the Locked On Pirates podcast sent you, and get 15% off of your order, and use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at built.com for the best protein bars on planet Earth. Game 2 tonight. How do the Pirates follow up what happened last night? I'm going to go ahead and say newsflash, they're not going to win by 11 runs again. Let's just hope they didn't use all of their runs last night for the entire week. They have a tendency to do that. They score all of their runs in one game and then don't score anymore. We get a pretty interesting pitching matchup. You get Matt Swarmer versus Roansy Contreras. Contreras, of course, coming off of his first loss of the year, I believe. Swarmer 1-2 with a 5.23. The Pirates need Contreras to do a lot of what Brubaker did last night because I don't think the offense is going to be as potent as it was last night. Contreras going 5 innings would be ideal. He needs to attack the zone. This Chicago lineup, by the way, not very good right now. Ian Happ kills the Pirates. I'm just used to this. I think Ian Happ's going to have another good game. Wilson Contreras, a guy, I think he's going to have a good game. After pretty much Morel, Contreras, and Happ, you have Patrick Wisdom, who's batting .216, Jason Hayward 192, Andrelton Simmons 200, Rivas 214, Nico Horner and Ortega in that 260, 270 range. They don't have a lot of pop in this lineup, though. Patrick Wisdom and Wilson Contreras, along with Ian Happ, have pretty much been their entire power dynamic. Morel, of course, adding 5 home runs into that fold as well. But if I'm Contreras with the stuff I have at my disposal and how well I've been pitching lately, I would just attack the zone on every pitcher. I want to see Contreras attack these hitters all night. He needs to. He just needs to attack all these hitters all game long. He does that, goes 5 innings, maybe allowing 1 run or scoreless. The Pirates win this ball game because I'm going to go to the line that the Pirates posted. Looks very similar to last night. Ke'Bryan Hayes, as I'll put that on the screen for you. Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Jack Sawinski, Daniel Vogelbach, Michael Chavis, Oneil Cruz, Bligh Madris, and Michael Perez. The real change here is Perez for Michael Perez for Tyler Heineman, and then Hoy Park is at the bottom of the lineup as well. But you start to look 1 through 5 there, and Vogelbach, albeit batting .217, 8 home runs, 20 RBIs, but look at that 2 through 5 spot for the Pirates right now. Brian Reynolds, 11 home runs. Sawinski, 11 home runs. Vogelbach, 8 home runs. Chavis, 6 home runs. All of those guys almost over 20 RBIs in the top 5. The Pirates are getting offensive production from the top 5. It's just after that, things are starting to kind of fall apart. But that's where Oneil Cruz and Bligh Madris come in now. Oneil Cruz, of course, 4 RBIs last night. Madris with 2. If they, I'm not asking Madris and Cruz here to get 6 RBIs combined every single night, but a hit or two there to kind of get runners on base for a Michael Perez or a Hoy Park is always good because, I mean, you saw Hoy Park last night get 2 RBIs, but he didn't really need to do much to do it. Sack fly from Oneil to score Oneil Cruz. There wasn't much that he needed to do there. And Hoy Park and Michael Perez, obviously well-known, not very good hitters, but if you have guys on base, get the ball to the outfield, that's another run. And against a Cubs team, again, that is not terribly offensively potent as of late and has allowed a crap load of runs lately, 19 against the Padres, 12 against the Padres, 18 against the Yankees, all in a 1 week span, and then a 12 last night. If the Pirates offense can be even 50% of what they were last night, 6 runs, they win this ball game. They will win this ball game if they score 6 runs. Now, that's assuming that Roansy has a very good game, which I think he should. And if you want to go to another wonderful sponsor of ours, Bet Online, the Pirates, of course, are favored in this game. The Cubs, of course, looking to add a 6-game road skid. The Pirates looking to keep the good times rolling with a 2-game win streak going on and winners of 3 of their last 5. So we'll see what the Pirates can do here. I think the keys to victory in this one, the offense needs to do what they did last night in some capacity. I'm not asking again for 12 runs. It would be very nice to have 12 runs every single night, but very unrealistic to expect that. But if Jack Sawinski, Oneil Cruz, and some of the guys who contributed last night continue to contribute in the offense tonight, I think things will go well. Ke'Bryan Hayes, of course, was hit last night. I think he's going to have a multi-hit game tonight against the Chicago Cubs. I think Contreras is going to go 5 innings, maybe give up a run or 2 there. But I think the Pirates are going to win this game 5-3. I think they will cement themselves of at least splitting the series and then winning the series by winning one of the 2 games to follow up. Those are my predictions for tonight's ball game between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs at 7:05 Eastern Time in PNC Park. Guys, hopefully you all enjoyed everything that happened last night. I'm hoping you enjoyed my recap of all of the fun events from last night. Of course, you see I have the sunglasses like Ke'Bryan Hayes in spring training. I have the Hawaiian shirt. Boy, it feels like we're on vacation with this team. I feel like a little kid again watching this team play. With that said, we're going to be recapping Game 2 of this series tomorrow. Any other big news that we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about the acquisition of Eric Stout from the Chicago Cubs, as well as anything else going on in the world of the Pittsburgh Pirates. And now that you've made me your first listen here this afternoon, the first picks of the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft have been made. Search now for Ultimate NBA Mock Draft and get over 50 insiders, the Odyssey sports experts, the draft experts of Locked On NBA Big Board, with 5 episodes of the Ultimate NBA Mock Draft underway. Make Ultimate NBA Mock Draft your second listen today. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you go follow at MVP_Ethan and at Locked On Pirates. With that said, guys, go Bucks. Let's see if Roansy Contreras can have a day. See you on the flip side, guys. Thank you so much.